market trends is perhaps the biggest problem for real estate developers to come to a conclusion on the kind of projects to come up with in a particular place. Many developers also spend a fortune on property consultants to come up with feasibility studies for their projects. Low-cost housing is a strange animal given the locational dynamics which might work at cross purposes at times. It's easier to find investors into such projects, but the project might fail in the ultimate analysis. Almost all the issues discussed today at this conference contribute to understanding the market trends. In every sense, housing for poor is considered a low-margin, high-volume game. But is such conventional thinking correct? And if it was so easy to read the market trends, why is it so difficult for low-cost housing projects to succeed in spite of the humongous demand? Hello and welcome to this special session on making sense of market trends, in which we speak to some of the industry leaders in housing development to understand the southern markets and elsewhere. We met up with Balakrishna Hegde, past president of CREDAI Karnataka, at his office in Bangalore. I began by asking him, how do southern markets differ from the north for developers of low-cost housing?
I don't know whether we should differentiate between South India, North India, East India. Low-cost housing is in demand, in fact in tremendous demand all over the country, because the fact remains that this particular segment has left unaddressed, almost unaddressed for so many decades. So there naturally is a tremendous scope for such a segment of housing everywhere, including South India, which you want to.
In terms of states like Karnataka, which has always been has been a leader in luxury housing, how does the market dynamics work for low-cost housing?
Market dynamics, as I told you earlier, since that particular segment has almost left unaddressed, the point that has to be considered is not whether there is demand. There definitely is a tremendous demand. Of the 24-25 million, whatever we are talking about, the shortage all over the country, there is a huge number of units in demand in Karnataka also.
Okay.
But the point remains, where do we produce? Where do you create this kind of housing? Whether 50 kilometers away from urban area or within the city, whether it is feasible if you do it within the city, whether it is practical doing it 50 kilometers away. These are the questions that have to be addressed. It's very important that when we address low-cost housing, we have to look at the location first.
Okay.
If the demand is in A location, if you provide housing in B location, that may not work. Some of the projects have suffered because of that. So location is one of the most important factors.
Okay. But Mr. Hegde, many of the state governments have insisted that developers will have to fend for themselves when it comes to renting.
I didn't answer your. I think I was
earlier about the paradox.
Yes, paradox. Government says all our developments in future above a particular size must have EWS housing. So many percentage of the built-up area, or so many numbers of the built-up area, so many numbers of the units, percentage of units should be there.
Correct.
But my point is, there are two. One, I may be building a complex in MG Road. Is there a demand for the low-cost housing?
Okay.
Number one. Number two, insisting that every project should have a EWS. Are we creating a disadvantage for both the sections? Okay, MG Road in Bangalore, I'm talking about Bangalore now. MG Road in Bangalore may have a demand for high-end apartments. Are we mixing two segments which probably will be disadvantageous to both the segments? Number one. Two, are there enough demand for such housing in that particular location? Three, more importantly, are we the developers who created this shortage? No. It is a social problem which has been unattended for so many decades by successive governments.
Okay.
So that social problems has to be solved socially. Every one of us probably will have to chip in. Like for education, there is a cess. There is a calamity, there is a cess. Similarly, this shortage of housing, why only developers are made responsible?
To get a different perspective on the issue, we spoke to a low-cost housing developer from Boisar, which is today considered the epicenter for EWS housing. Boisar is about 70 kilometers away from Mumbai city center. There has been an avalanche of new low-cost housing projects in Boisar. The housing units have been sold for as low as rupees 6 lakhs, though those days are far behind. Today, not only housing prices have gone up, but also the land cost. Infrastructure availability to set up low-cost housing is still in its infancy in Boisar, though big-ticket investments have been made by companies like Tata Housing. We spoke to Mr. Prashant Khandelwal, Chief Operating Officer of Mayuresh Group, which has a LIG EWS housing project in Boisar. Interestingly, Mayuresh Group's project is different from the rest of the LIG homes as it beats conventional thinking.
There are just about 90 low-cost housing developers in India, and not one of them is involved in green development of housing projects. But today with me, I have the COO of Mayuresh Group, Mr. Khandelwal, to talk about green development in housing projects, especially to do with low-cost housing. Thank you for being with us, Mr. Khandelwal. It's a delight to have you. To begin, let me ask you the most basic question. How do you make green projects in housing projects, green development in housing projects?
Talking about two things, the low-cost housing which we are doing, affordable housing, and the green projects. So I will say the right word to define both the combination of both the aspects is sustainable project. So we are doing a sustainable, affordable project. So what we have to, apart from the green measures, which are let's say energy management, water management, waste management, these are the measures which we need to take care of in a green project. A sustainable project will include the economics of all these measures, whatever sustainable elements you are going to implement. So economics of all these measures will be the key factor to be involved.
Okay.
To be taken care of, I say. So what we are doing is, I'll define step by step. Sustainability is the thing. We should use the natural resources at the rate at which we can replenish it. And sustainable homes are the homes where the homes are designed in a way where it will use less energy, less water, and generate less waste while keeping the same comfort level what we are used to. If I'm used to live at a 22 degrees Celsius temperature, my walls are like that, it should keep my home cooler kind of thing. So, and side by side, whatever measures I'm going to take, it should not be cheap, it should not be costlier than the AC cost. Otherwise I will put a AC and I will have a temperature control room instead of spending more in creating such kind of walls.
Okay.
So that economics is the most important part, which is the key factor of designing such houses.
Okay.
And we have taken a conscious decision to develop sustainable homes while keeping our profits, keeping our margins over there. So sustainable homes, let's say the kind of people we are delivering, our customers are the affordable classes. So the salary range here is around 2 lakhs to let's say 5 lakhs per annum, which comes to around 15,000 per month to 60,000 per month.
Okay.
So for that bracket, you need to take care of the capital costs which you are providing, the amenities which are giving the overall product. The ticket value is one of the key parameters. The second parameter, these people are going to buy homes only once in a lifetime kind of thing. And if you give a product which is a low capex but a high opex, these people are not going to, this is not going to work over here. You can sell your first phase, but second phase it will be difficult if the opex is very high. So our main target is to keep the lowest maintenance cost as possible.
Okay.
Otherwise, it will be difficult for these people to maintain the same kind of lifestyle, and hence all these measures will fail. So whatever measures we have taken, we have kept in mind that our lump sum, the maintenance cost should not increase more than 1 rupee per square foot, whereas other developers in this area are charging 1.5 rupees per square feet per month. So, and we are taking care of the society for next 2 years, the maintenance. We are taking advanced maintenance, so that let's say there will be inflation, it will be raised to 1.5 or 2, it depends. So all these factors are taken into care starting from the design process itself.
There have also been some dangerous trends seen in policy making in the recent past. The state governments, under the garb of forcing real estate developers to make low-cost housing in city centers, have come up with absurd laws for mixing luxury housing projects with those for low-income groups. There are serious cultural issues in mixing development this way, but then the governments want to hide their inability to provide infrastructure in far-flung places for decades, which is today forcing immigrants to stay in urban slums. Mr. Hegde couldn't agree with that more, but he said that straight, cut and dry.
But the fact remains that there are state governments like Maharashtra, for instance, they are making a law which says that 30% of the housing volume should be reserved for low-cost housing. Now, do you think that's absurd, or their point of view is that wherever there is luxury housing, support systems have to be there nearby? You know, all the maid servants, all kinds of low-cost housing residents have to be there around to help to be as a support system. Now, if they stay far away from the city, it only adds to the infrastructural problems, traffic congestions, and all the related problems. What's your opinion on that?
I agree with you. I am fully with you as far as the human infrastructure is required where there is habitation.
Okay.
But have we done any survey on that? This 30%, 20%, 10% they're talking about, I would like to have a paper from you as to what is the basis of it. Is it the imagination of some politician sitting some in chamber that, okay, do it 30%? Why make me suffer? Okay, have you ever asked a bicycle manufacturer to manufacture 15%, 20% of bicycles free of cost or at lower cost? Have you asked fan manufacturer why, when it comes to real estate developers, why this special treatment? Is the manufacturer of bicycles, fans, etc. are also staying? They are also staying in a house. Have you asked them to provide? Why special treatment? Why bias treatment first? I am not saying that don't want to be party to it. Why single me out? That is my question.
But Mr. Hegde, by your argument, is it that the low-cost housing being low-margin, high-volume business, it becomes untenable in a luxury area, in an area where luxury buildings are? Does it become untenable?
It might.
Is that what you're suggesting?
It might. But again, depends. We don't mind, honestly speaking, we don't mind chipping in whatever best possible. Or we don't mind balancing the cost. If there are so many tenements, so many high-end tenements, the requirement of the human infrastructure is so much. There should be some scientific study. I tell you one thing. These are all social problems which of course requires a social scientist like Amartya said. Okay. We have to have engaged such kind of people to solve specific problems of our country. And again, country is not one unit. Mumbai problem may be totally different. Bangalore problem is again different. No two cities are alike. So individual problems should have individual solutions. I am not skirting the issue. We are prepared to do it. But the question remains, why single me out?
Prevailing trends for housing for economically weaker section can be quite different from those for the real estate developments in the same region or place. In our next section, we will delve into issues related to marketing and sales, especially when the end user's buying capacity is low and there is so much uncertainty over his job.